Right, let's just start with, what does the British Business Bank's research reveal about smaller businesses and their attitudes to accessing external finance?
So it's simply that the majority of small businesses, they're not seeking advice when they're applying for an external finance to grow their business. In fact, 81% businesses have sought no advice at all looking for external finance, and 73% would actually, surprisingly, rather forego growth than borrow. So we've created the Finance Hub. It's an independent sort of website, essentially an interactive website where you can gain advice on 6 easy questions and find out about what your financing options are. And also we've set up a competition where you can win a day with me where I'll provide the advice if you need it.
Sounds good. I mean, no small businesses really be turning that down. Why do you think that the small businesses they don't want to go for external finance? Do you think it's a lack of knowledge, or just a little bit frightened to dip their toe into that?
Well, firstly, you don't have to raise finance. It's really about your aspirations. But I think that increasingly, whether you're a corner shop or some tech startup, you can't just rest on your laurels. You have to think about growth at all times because markets changing very, very quickly. So I think it's a reticence. It's that fear of bringing in third parties who have a say in how you run your business and what you do. And it's about understanding your options as well, because financing is changing very quickly. It's not just about, high street debt anymore or venture capital equity finance. There's crowdfunding, peer-to-peer lending, asset finance, cash flow finances, lots of different forms of finance that may be suitable for your business, that enable you to grow your business or even just provide short-term working capital or allow you to export, which can make a huge difference to your growth potential and even your profitability. But you have to understand the options, and quite often small businesses don't have the networks or the support or the mentors or the advisors that actually understand all of that.
When you're listing that off there, unless you know what you're talking about there, and let's face it, some of us have a wee grasp of some things, but not a lot. It's a bit like, what's he talking about? So do you think mentorship and support is quite important for the smaller business? Yeah,
it's really important. And some research that we've done, the latest government figures actually, they show that 15-25% businesses actually go and seek advice, are 15-25% more likely to become high growth firms. So it makes a massive difference. And startup loans, which is also run by British Business Bank, the loan applicants who have mentoring have reported that they feel more confident when they're running and managing their business. So you can't underestimate how important that mentoring or just seeking advice is. Now, if you don't have that, the idea behind the Finance Hub, this interactive website, is you can answer 6 pretty simple questions about your aspirations, how much money you need, what you need it for, and that will then signpost you to where and go and look for this finance. At least it will give you understanding of what your options are so you can move to the next step.
Which is quite important, isn't it? Because, the competition is absolutely fierce out there, isn't it, Piers? And, you need to try and compete with the next man, next woman, whatever. So you need to know what's available out there.
Yeah, the next man, woman or business isn't necessarily next door. It can be anywhere in the world these days. So you wake up one morning and your market's changed, your consumers have changed, your supply chain has changed. The world is no longer, things are happening on a linear fashion now. Things are becoming exponential. So this impacts all businesses, and it's really important you get ahead of the game. So, you should really go out there, and, the internet's a great place to start, but some of the information isn't always as good as it should be. So what we've done on the Finance Hub is try and create something which is credible and also, importantly, independent too.
It's important that is it credible and independent, because I think a lot of people feel that they're being pushed down an avenue that they perhaps don't want to go. They feel that there's an end for somebody else there, not for them.
Yeah, a lot of it is, you online, it's selling to you, isn't it? And the beauty of the Finance Hub is it's not a sales tool, really. It's an information, it's an interactive website. It's providing, really valuable information. And that, if you Google British Business Bank Finance Hub, you'll find that. And also how to enter the competition. So, or follow me on Twitter or British Business Bank. And, if the Finance Hub can't provide the advice, maybe I can. I've done this for other companies, and it makes a big difference, that nugget of advice, nobody has all the answers. I haven't got all the answers. I invest in companies, you make mistakes, I start companies, and I, myself, always reach out to people that know more than I do. And in many cases, they're better than doing things that I am, because that's important. That's how you grow, that's how you learn.
So it's quite good if your mentor's got a mentor, isn't it? It means that
yeah, exactly.
To learn as well.
Yeah.
So I've got this small business. What financial options might be there for me or startups could consider?
So this is not just about startups. It's about, startups. Clearly, it's important. They're sort of fuel growth, but it's also about anyone with a business. It can be, a business that's been around for many years, even a family-owned business passed through the generations. But it depends where you are in your growth. So if you're new, often you'll find that equity, people buying shares in your company, selling part of your business in return for capital is the way to go. The startup loans, if you haven't got access to finance, startup loans may well work for you too. And then you've got things like now crowdfunding, where there are platforms where people now can actually kind of democratize investment, really, where people will see your investment opportunity and invest in small pieces. And that's something which is quite new, really. So we've developed massively over the last even less than 5 years, and that's a big change. And then you've got angel investors. They used to be, really people in a network. Now it's institutionalized, more structured. There are angel funds, there are angel networks, and they can be a really important source of finance. Then you go through to venture. Now, as your business begins to grow and mature, you've got profits and assets, you can start looking at debt perhaps. Or if you've got a debtor book or you've got orders, you can look at financing working capital through that. So there's lots of options, but they're becoming more complicated, and technology is helping to sort of democratize and widen those financing options. And it's important that you understand that. And often your local accountant may not understand them either, so you have to look further sometimes.
It all sounds like so much to do before we even open our door. So you touched briefly on this competition to win some mentoring and advice from you. If you've got a small business, I think it just sounds absolutely wonderful, or any business. So tell us a bit about this competition, Piers. So
competitions that are opening up, you've got to explain in less than 300 words why you need the advice. You can enter on the Finance Hub website, or follow me on social media, or British Business Bank, or the Small Business Advice Week website as well. And it's very simple. Just explain why you need the advice, and we'll go through those, and we'll pick out somebody, and I'll spend half a day with them, and I'll provide the advice. It may not be about financing, it may be about any part of the business. We did one of these last year, and I'm still in touch with that business, and they're doing pretty well. Not because of my advice, clearly, because a lot of hard work and graft, but I think the advice I gave them certainly did help.
And it is, a mentor there. It's someone who's seeing what you're not seeing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's somebody who just has experience or networks, or just the insights you don't have. And it's something that it can really, small nuggets. A lot of entrepreneurs and people who have got a established business, they want to raise finance, you make mistakes because you don't fully understand what the options are, what you're doing. That's just the nature of the beast. So having somebody that can actually help you sort of cross those chasms and understand how you move forward to make a big difference. And what it's really about, reducing risk. Finance is about being able to grow your business, but also it's about growing in a way that is responsible, and also you do that, you maximize your potential with a minimal risk. And it's about understanding your options, about understanding the small print in investment agreements or loan agreements, because that can make a big difference, because things don't always go to plan, and it's been able to have structures that work for you and the people investing in you.
It certainly sounds like it's a competition definitely worth entering if you're in any form of business, Piers. You to get half day with
it certainly is.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Finally, before you leave us this morning, because I know you've got other people to talk to, I could talk to you all day, you're so interesting. Where can our listeners go for more information? So
go to the Small Business Advice Week website, or British Business Bank Finance Hub. You can Google that, it'll come up once you go past the ads. But it's British Business Bank and /finance-hub. Or social media, that's probably the easiest way of doing it. Follow me on Twitter or British Business Bank, and you'll see the post there. Click the link and enter the competition.